Welcome to Comedy Centric, your place for all things comedy. Every week, we'll discuss the legends and the people who built the business, the performers, writers, behind the scenes, and stories that you have never heard. So relax, take a load off, and join us for this episode of Comedy Centric. Now, the host of your show, nationally headlining comedian, a woman with a wicked sense of humor and a killer Jersey accent, Julia Scotti.
Where am? Oh, there I am. Oh, hi, me. Listen, you're looking at the other box. In the other box there, you would normally see one Kathy Caldwell. Well, I didn't tell. No, this was sort of a secret, but she was. She decided to transition. Kathy is taking a sick day. She called me. She called me like about 20 minutes ago, and she sounded horrible. Oh man, you gave it to her because you were sick.
I was deathly ill. I hope she does not have whatever I had.
She sounded pretty bad, but I hope she's okay. We all hope she's okay.
Yes.
Anyway, it's gonna be me in the captain's seat tonight, and you at what appears to be a dry cleaner's.
Yeah,
judging from what's behind you.
our studio here in Cheltenham, PA, used to be a dry cleaner, and we have not gotten everything out yet.
I loved it. No, I love the little railroad cars for the clothes. That I keep telling you that should be operational when you're on camera. Anyway, I see you brought your inflatable doll with you in the background.
Oh, the mannequin. There usually is an inflatable doll because the legendary Wid does a podcast here and he leaves one here. But
okay.
Today I have a mannequin that he left me that I put a jersey on.
Okay. What I don't really have much to report early on today, except to say that as long as I have you on camera, I want to tell you in front of all 6 of our listeners,
Seven.
I'm sorry. What a great job you're doing with the show. Somebody mentioned to me, somebody reached out to me, and who I'll tell you about in a little bit, and just commented on how great a job you're doing. And I said, he's really dedicated to this. And
yeah, I mean, I can't do anything without the two of you. And, you two are doing a great job and we're getting great guests. Everybody that's been on the show has been fantastic. There has not been one show where I said, everyone's been awesome.
And we have a great guest tonight.
Who I've never met. Huh? Who I've never met, but I know everyone I know knows her. But
is that right? Oh, okay. Anita Wise is my old buddy. We've been we were road dogs together. We still go out on the road. She's my comedian of choice to tour with, and she's knocking them dead pretty soon. I'm probably going to lose her because she's going to be headlining, and I won't be able to, can't afford her. But she's had an incredible career, and I don't know when you're going to see this, but Belinda Clear, who was on our last show, also had an amazing story, and so does Anita. So we're going to take a little break, all right? And Jimmy, that's the point where you start to bring the music up underneath me, and we're going to take a little break.
Pretend it's playing because I can't find it.
All right.
I didn't know I was going to be Kathy until 2 minutes ago.
All right. By the way, if you haven't subscribed yet to Comedy Centric, please do, because while we know you're listening, we need the subscribers because.
And here, I'm going to cut you off for a second.
Go ahead.
If you are listening to us on Apple, make sure you rate us. The higher those ratings go, the higher we'll go into the algorithm.
That's right. We need to go into the algorithm.
Yes. So Apple and Spotify hit the ratings, and YouTube and Facebook hit subscribe or follow.
Yeah, please, that's important. We don't ask you to do a lot. Really, I don't ask you to do anything. I ask you to do one thing. Is that so hard? To take your finger, take your mouse and put it over the button and press it? Not hard, is it, Jimmy? No. Where's the goddamn music?
It's playing.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, we're going to take a little break and we'll be back with Anita Wise.
You and a few.
Hi there, everybody. It's me, Julia. Hey, why am I talking to you now? Now, of all times? Because I just my new special on Dry Bar Comedy channel is just been released. It's called Julia Scotti Jersey Fresh, because that's what I am. I slap myself. That's how fresh I am. So you have to subscribe though to get the Dry Bar, and if you do, you get access to, like, I don't know, thousands of other comics. But see my special first, Jersey Fresh. And if you enter my name, Julia Scotti, it's my understanding that you will get a free month of Dry Bar. So go. What are you waiting for? Well, we're back. Well, we're back. I'm back. But in a couple of seconds, there'll be a we're, because our guest is here. And but right now, there's no we're, it's just me. So anyway, I've known Anita Wise 100,000 years. We're like the best of friends, I think. And she's what I love about her is she's such an intelligent comic, and by that I mean it's all thoughtful stuff. It's all interesting. And it's funny. She's an actress. She was a dancer. She says, well, why am I telling you all this? She'll tell you all that. It's a pleasure to bring on my buddy, Anita Wise.
Hey.
Oh, you look stunning tonight. You always look stunning. Ugh, please.
Makeup.
What?
It's called makeup.
You know what? I've seen you without makeup, and it's just as good. So how you doing, Kil?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm happy. I'm happy to see you. This is fun. Yeah.
It is fun. We always have the question I always ask people is I always feel like I'm cross-eyed. I see myself in the camera. Do I look cross-eyed to you?
No.
Okay.
Why?
I don't know. It just seemed like this side right here always seems a little. It's like sort of going off there. But anyway, you have a comeback story. I have a comeback story.
Mm-hmm.
But our story really begins about, I don't know, 40 years ago, would you say?
Yeah, something like that. Yes.
I know. It's hard to believe. You're from Philadelphia, right?
I was born in Philly, yes.
Mm-hmm. But you didn't stay in Philly. You moved
I went to college. I grew up there. I grew up in Center City, Philadelphia.
Okay.
And then I lived in St. Louis when I went to college. And then I came back I went different places for a little while. And then I ended up back in Philadelphia.
But you stopped in France for a while.
Yeah, I spent junior year abroad in France. Yeah.
Okay, because
my mother was French, yes.
And she was also a dancer, right?
She was a dancer. She and my aunt were dancers for the Paris Opera.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you studied the dance as well, did you not?
I did. I wasn't very good at it, but I tried.
Really? That surprises me, because you're built like a dancer, and I don't mean that in a sexist way. I mean you have a dancer's form. It's live, like THE, and fluid. You're very fluid.
I was okay, but the people who really do well at it are absolutely insane for ballet, and they just live. I wasn't that devoted, so you get what you pay for, right?
Yeah, so, I always thought, for some reason I thought you were more devoted to that, but you had the calling to perform anyway. Yes,
I did. Okay. That's why I was trying dance, and I did try for several years, and then my knee kind of blew out, and I just started thinking about it. I thought a dancer's life is, by the time you hit 30, your body's kind of done doing that kind
Same
of
in comedy.
No, comedy, you could go on and on. We're proof. And I just realized, the devotion you would need to succeed as a ballet dancer, I didn't have.
Okay, so
I didn't want to spend my life like that.
Which brings us to comedy. Did you study theater? Were you a theater major?
No. I was pretty unsuccessful at the things I tried to be a performer. I first tried ice skating, And, that went okay, but,
Wait a minute. You never told me that. I never knew
I
that
was a
about you.
kid, but that was like a passion of mine for a little while, was ice skating, and I thought, "Oh, maybe I could be an ice skater professionally," whatever, I don't know.
But that's
And
pretty limiting as the age thing too, like
exactly,
dancing,
right.
right?
So that's why I thought, instead I'll be a ballet dancer, and, which is not any better, but, and then in high school, I was in a play, and when it came for my line, we were in the locker room in this scene, and, I had to pull a slip over my head while I was talking, and I got kinda stuck in it during the actual performance, and so now I'm standing in front of all my peers with a slip over my head that I can't get out of. So, of course, when I came out, I'm like, "Nah," like this, and I don't remember my line at this point because I'm so flustered. So I thought, "No, I can't be an actor. I just obviously not good at that." So I just sort of tabled my performing ambitions because I was very shy also. So I thought, well, yeah, one side of my family, they're actors and dancers and whatever, but my side, I didn't get the gene. So, but I still had this desire. Anyway, I moved to New York eventually, and I fell in with a comic that I was dating, and this desire to like perform was still there. And so after we stopped dating, I took a little comedy course, and it was my first time on stage. And I just thought, from him I knew that one of the hard things when you're starting out is to have a character. And like my jokes didn't particularly go over, but I had a character. I heard it. I just sort of
That's very unusual, though,
I
so
know.
early on.
I know. Well, it was Born of Terror, so,
Oh,
so
which is the name of your first album.
yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, let's note that. Yeah, it was just how my fear, however that expressed itself, was somewhat amusing apparently. So I thought, okay, you know, I just had a sense that, well, let me keep trying this. So that's how
You
it got.
you have a disarming way about you on stage, even when when I've seen you do new material that that's it works, but it's not where it is now. Like in the beginning, all our material when it's new,
Right.
it kind of it's evolving, and
Yeah.
it's just but your reactions to it are funny, and your responses to your own material.
Disasters.
Yeah, well, they're not disasters, but you know what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah.
you just it's what's interesting about you is that you have this beautiful face, and so unlike a comic's face. It's not a comic's face. It's an actress's face. It's a dancer's face. You're beautiful, right? And sort of, but you put yourself in this vulnerable position on stage, and it's so endearing to audiences that I love. Sometimes I'll sit in the back and I just watch you, and I go, God, she's got him right here, right in the palm of her hand. Are you aware of that when you're up there?
I'm aware that whether they're paying attention or not, and when I feel like they are engaged, and I have a little bit of luxury to just take my time and tell this, like I'm doing longer little
Yes.
stories now. So, I mean, that are hopefully funny all along the way, but they, if I feel like they're getting bored, I'll just bail out of it.
But that wasn't so long ago that you weren't. You were trying. I hate to. I don't mean to jump into your comeback because I want to stay back at the beginning. But yes, you are doing longer form stuff, and it's really working. And you were made for that, And, but I don't want to get there yet. I want to talk about your beginning, because when you hit New York, your rise was I don't want to say meteoric, but you climbed the ladder pretty quickly. You were an up and comer in a very short period, relatively short period of time.
Yep.
You
I
what do you
know.
attribute? You know why?
Yep, I do. Because I was in Catch, and just by luck, the Today Show was looking for, they had a 3-part series of people who were dead beginners, just starting, and then somebody was not breaking through yet, and then somebody was kind of made it. And so I guess to represent the face of the up-and-comers, they wanted a woman. The other 2, I think, were men. I don't even remember who they were right now, but I got, this was after 3 months of being a comic strip. I got picked because I was a beginner, and I got interviewed by Bryant Gumbel, and it was a little piece they did on the Today Show. And so I think having national TV after 3 months sort of made people notice. So even though that was, could have been anybody pretty much, that they were.
But this was back in the day before Comedy Central, before
Yes.
the HBO even.
Yeah,
So to
right.
do something like that on the Today Show.
Yeah, that was a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it had a lot of
It was a
impact.
lucky break, it was because I was I think partly because I was a woman, and they kind of wanted to show a little, like, I don't know, mix it up a little. I don't know. But yeah, that was fun. And it was good for me because when, I took the class and then I took it again, and then I said, and then I think I did an open mic down at Good Times, which were all the comics of that era are familiar with. And
the most appropriately named club ever in the history of comedy clubs.
Right.
Anything but Good Times.
But then I said, well, what are we doing here? So I decided I'm giving myself 6 months, and then we have a very honest conversation about whether we pursue this actively or we're just messing around. So after 4 months, I was on national television. So I thought,
yeah,
well, I guess that answers that. Yeah. We're going to try. So
let's proceed as planned.
Yes, let's proceed. So that's what happened. That's I don't know.
But didn't you get some commercials too?
Yeah, I did. I did do in New York. I did commercials, and LA too. Yeah.
Yeah, they were nationals too, right? They weren't
just
a
couple of few.
Yeah.
Yep. Had a Burger King. I was so excited, and after a month, they dumped the agency and the whole campaign. I was like, oh.
Yeah, well, but still, to get after such a short period of time, to have all the success, it's almost unheard of. You were kind of like it's like Freddie Prinze's story. That sort of meteoric rise. You were on that same trajectory though, of just exploding at some point.
Yeah, what happened?
No, we're not going to go there. We got to stop doing that. You got to stop doing that.
A lot of things happened. I
know what happens, but these people, we have 7 listeners now. They don't know what happened. So I'm trying to.
All right. I'll be.
Here's your timeline. I'm moving you along the timeline.
Yeah. All right. Timeline.
All right, so you're starting to work. When did you get the Tonight Show? Were you in LA already, or were you?
No, because I had to move to LA because I got the Tonight Show. I mean, not to do it, but because now I was perceived to be at a level where I ought to be in LA. So
okay, so let's back up to right before, right when you got the Tonight Show. You were in the business how long?
8 years. No, 6 years. 6 years.
That's a real accomplishment. Because for those of you who don't remember that era, again, there were no other networks, no cable, no nothing. So to do the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson was a career maker. Ask Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
So you got booked on. How did you get booked on the Tonight Show?
I was at the Just for Laughs festival, and Jim McCall saw me there.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Yes, the Just for Laughs festival in Montreal.
In Montreal, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had this series of wonderful things going on because you're incredibly talented. Yes.
I don't like when you say that. I had good chances. Lots of people are very talented, and
yes, but All right, so Jim McCauley, who was the talent coordinator for Tonight Show at the time, you get booked on with Carson, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when do you remember the date?
No.
No, okay, I don't either, but there wasn't you had
August,
other.
something, August. I don't remember.
All right, what did that do for you? Because that again, that's a career maker. Just one appearance on there.
Well, not to make excuses for myself, but Jerry had done multiple Tonight shows before he really got to be known. It had kind of passed that moment where it was over, like maybe for some people it appearance like that would be, but it wasn't such a true thing at that time,
Mm-hmm.
by then. Like you had to do a number of them, or I don't know. Anyway, but it certainly helped a lot. I think I got more auditions for things and things like that. So, it was definitely credential making it, better spots at some clubs, not all, but yeah.
Okay, so as a comedian, though, I know even the limited television I've done, the pressure to continue to develop is huge.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what it was like for you, because that you've that's the ultimate in TV appearances. Uh, you know, did you feel that pressure to continue to grow, or I guess what I'm asking, did you find that your risk taking became less because you now had to live up to this image of a TV star, basically?
No,
I'm not saying that correctly.
well, let's put it in perspective. In LA during that time, lots of my contemporaries had comparable credits or better, at the Melrose Improv, where I was mostly performing. So, but Los Angeles being like an industry town where in any audience of any tiny place could be the cousin of the head of Universal Studios,
Mhm.
it was a lot harder to totally take risks because you just felt that presence that, word might get out that you ate it somewhere, you know what I mean?
Let's stay on that for a little bit,
Okay.
because comics watch this show too, young comics, I think, from what I understand. Um, I, it's a tough place to be in. It's you're on the horns of a dilemma, because on the one hand, you have to keep growing if you're
Right.
going to continue to attract new audiences, if you're going to record albums or do TV specials, you're going to burn a lot of material. You have to keep replenishing it. So, um, but you can do it one of two ways. You can stay in this, dynamite, just build on that for the rest of your life. And I don't mean
Yeah.
no disparaging to Jimmy Walker, but or you can be like Bobcat, who abandoned that character and just grew as a writer and a comic. I think
Yeah.
um, it's a hard place to be in. Where would you? I mean, I see you now, and like I said, I see you growing and growing and growing even from when you came back 6-7 years ago, and it's remarkable. Do you think you would have done that if you had, I don't know, had gotten the series back then, or would you have just given up stand up altogether?
I don't know. I think I might have gone ka-ching. I'm out of here.
Really? Yeah. Would you?
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know what I would have done. I can't imagine. You know, I don't know. I
I
mean,
mean, I see Tim Allen is, he's on tour again. He's selling
yeah,
out, 3 or 4 or 5,000 seat rooms, and I'm curious as to whether he's still doing, and he's writing new material for that character, or if he's is he grown as as a comic. I don't know. It's got to be stifling to be that famous. Like the only one who I look at Carlin, and he was able to just sort of not say I don't give a shit, just keep going.
yeah, I just kept going. I think I would have, I mean, based on how much I'm enjoying it right now, I would have been tempted to come back. Although once you've been out, as you know, it's kind of daunting, the prospect of coming back. It's a little like,
Daunting is an understatement.
yeah, it is an understatement, right? It's
Frightening.
like, okay.
Yeah.
But it's so fun. But some people, if they've done it enough, they have other interests that are more passionate about. I don't, I
I
think
look at
it's
some of
great.
our contemporaries from that era, and to see how many have pretty much left stand up, but they've gone into writing and producing,
Right.
and I sometimes I'll stand back and I go, what did I do wrong? Am I doing something wrong because I really like stand up and I don't want to do anything else? Should I be, trying to become a writer or on some show? I mean, do you feel that way ever?
No. I
No,
don't.
good. Well,
No,
that's why we
I
get
just
along.
I like what I'm doing. Writing sounds like hard, so,
Mhm.
I mean, a joke I can write, but a whole, like, book
A
or
series every week or a
yeah,
monologue every night. No, I couldn't do
I don't
that
know
either.
if I could do.
Um, all right,
So
so all right, so you go out to LA. Now you go out there with somewhat of a reputation. You've got, some credits now. And you start, and a lot of our New York contemporaries had already moved out there in the great migration of the early mid 80s.
right.
All right, you find a theatrical agent, right? At that point, have you found a theatrical agent?
I was with William Morris for commercials,
Okay.
and I had, Diane Krause was my manager back then,
The lawyer.
the
The lawyer
lawyer.
from okay.
Yeah, and I don't think I had a theatrical agent. It's a long time ago. I don't really there were, like, brief flirtations with. Yeah, I think I just had the commercial agent.
Okay. So now
Mm.
have you done another Tonight Show since that first one?
Yeah, I
You
did one with Leno.
okay. So
Yeah.
all right, so things are going, let's say things are going pretty well for you at that point. And then you get an audition. Did you have to audition for Seinfeld, or were you up for?
No, it was an audition. Yeah,
And you auditioned for Elaine, right?
yeah, for Elaine.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's talk about that for a little bit, because people will, we think of Julia Louis as being the only
right.
possible choice, but we forget that casting calls they've seen hundreds. Who else? Do you know who else they looked at before?
No, I
All right,
don't.
so you go in the audition. What was the audition like?
We walked in the room, and there was, 2 stools in the front, which one was Jerry, one was me, and there were about, 8-ish people in the back of the room, different producer, casting, whatever, and Larry David was one of them.
Did you know Larry?
Yeah, I knew
Yeah. Okay.
Larry and Jerry. I mean, we
No,
didn't
I knew you knew
socialize,
Jerry.
but
Yeah.
I knew that. I mean, we did socialize because we would hang out at the Improv
Right.
bar and stuff, but, um, anyway, he jumped up and said, "Well, I didn't know you were gonna be here," and
Who did, Jerry or Larry?
no, Larry.
Oh,
Well, you didn't
okay.
recognize my Larry David impression.
I did. I started.
He left. He left the room. I was like,
Why did he leave?
"I have no idea. I don't know why." I mean, it's not like, we had much interaction in New York. I knew him from the club, but not,
That's so funny.
I don't know why he did that. But, it's Larry. He does things like that. So
Mhm.
he left, and I thought, "What is that about?" But, I had, like, a page or 2 with no other context about the story, just that I knew I was his girlfriend or had been a girl. I mean, it was not even clear. So I just made some choices about that, and I knew I would have to kind of go big to get like, he wasn't an actor, he's just Jerry,
Mhm.
so I thought I did a good job. And then they told me that they liked my work, but for Elaine, they wanted somebody who was a little bitchier. So I thought, okay, I'll take that. It's that's not a bad rejection. And because then they gave me the waitress
Right.
part. And then Jerry at one point during the taping of the second one told me that I was married to the owner of the diner. So I was very excited. I
Oh,
thought,
that would have been
role?
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not what happened. When they did the pilot, then they did the 4 follow-up
Right.
episodes, and then when they decided, okay, we're doing the series, the first few seasons, they really just concentrated on the ensemble, the 4,
Right.
George, Kramer, Jerry, and
But Elaine wasn't even in the first. She wasn't in the pilot, right? The Elaine character was. I don't think she was even.
I don't know if she was in the pilot, but she was in the 4
She was in
episodes.
one of the first 4, or she began
Yeah.
like the second or third one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, she was in both of mine. Yeah.
But you also went on. You also did the one where you were in the apartment too. So they
Right.
brought you back for that as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so doesn't that interest other shows? I mean, were you offered other things as
Yeah, I
as a
auditioned
sitcom?
for a bunch of stuff. I just didn't get it.
Sorry.
Movies, all kinds of big roles that I
Sure.
didn't get. But so didn't a lot of other people. So
Yeah.
it's like,
It is. It's I've been doing a lot of auditions lately too, and it's just as much as you are a grizzled old veteran and just cynical and go, just let it go, forget you did it. There's a part of you that goes, I thought I did a good job. I think I got a shot at this, no matter what it is.
I don't really. I mean, there are times I'm disappointed because I really would have liked that role. But
Yeah.
as far as like at this point, I really don't take rejection from auditions personally because there are so many factors that are totally unrelated. Like you don't match who's supposed to be your brother,
Right.
and they have to use him because they owe that agent a favor, or you're not.
Yeah. I don't either anymore, but
all that stuff. There's so or they wrote that part out, or I mean, all kinds of like so many things could be the reason besides they didn't like your.
But it's still, it's still a wound, and when you're new, it's a big gaping wound.
Yeah, no, you have to build a callus. It takes a while. No, I used to cry, and now I just like my imagery when I leave an audition is I have this image of I'm flushing.
That's a good image, though.
It's gone. It's gone. If I get a nice phone call, that would be great. But on to the next.
And now you don't even have to go into the casting office. You can do it at home. So
close your laptop.
Yeah, and you can really put it behind you right away.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but you're doing auditions again. Yes.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So, so after Seinfeld, you tell me about Bob Hope.
Oh, Bob Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. I guess my manager of the time must have submitted a tape. And Linda Hope, his daughter, said that they reviewed 200 tapes of women because it was 5 women. And they narrowed it down to 20 that they showed to Mr. Hope, which is what they call him. And so Mr. Hope picked 5. It was, let me see if I can remember them all. It was me, Carol Siskin we know from New York, Margaret Cho.
Wow.
Kathleen.
She must have been a kid. She must have been like a baby, right? Because
she was young.
Yeah. Okay.
Kathleen Madigan.
Yeah. Okay.
And the 5th one, me.
Yeah. That's a powerhouse group of women. What were you supposed to be? Were you all doing stand up? Is that just?
Yeah, we all did stand up. And Rue McClanahan was the host.
Oh,
and also Crystal Bernard.
Oh, from Wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
they were like presenters or something, and yeah, and each of us, did a set.
Where was Bob in all, or Mr. Hope in all of this?
Mr. Hope would come out, and he had cue cards, like huge cue cards. And I mean, he was 90 something at the time, so yeah, the interesting thing was they did photos for the press shoot, the publicity. So they got me and Carol, and so there we were waiting, and there was a set and a photographer and everything, and then Mr. Hope came, and I was astounded because I always thought he was a tall guy. I don't know if just the impression I
Yeah,
had.
he does give that impression. He's not?
No, he's tiny. He was tiny. He was like
Really?
my height. Yeah, I was like, "Whoop, this is
That's that's weird when that happens. I've had that happen. That happened with Farrah Fawcett. I when she was in the on TV she looks
yeah, she looks tall.
tall,
Yeah,
and I was going to the Improv one night, and she was in a play on some
yeah,
it was a
yeah.
theater,
Burning Bed or
Burning
something.
Bed, right? And I knew that she was there, but I saw the limousine pull, so I ran over because I wanted to see her. And God, she was so tiny.
Yeah,
But oh my God, flawless face, just beautiful. Unlike
yeah.
Bob Hope. I mean, I don't know how flawless he was, but
Well, he was, he'd seen better. I mean, he was
he was
90.
no Farrah Fawcett.
He's
That's for
90.
sure.
Let's just leave it at that. Okay, so, but it was really interesting, the aura that the presence that he had. He came with several handlers, and then the tension was on. Like, get this right, get this happening. Okay, everybody, get in your seats. Because they had to rehearse different poses and
Right.
stuff before he got there. So we did the shoot, and we're doing different angles, different things, and then the photographer says, "Well, Mr. Hope, we just a couple more," and he slid off his stool and he went, "No, you're done."
Wow.
And he was right. I mean, the guy surely, he just wanted a few safety shots, but
Yeah.
Mr. Hope was finished, and that was he went. No, what he said was, "No, you have enough," and that was that. And off he went. Excuse me.
Boy, that's power.
Yeah,
to be able to pull
yeah,
that off.
and it was like power with a patina of age. It was like he's been powerful a long time.
That's as
But
if Mount Rushmore said, "Nope, we're done." The stone mouth just moved.
I'm trying to remember, why did we go to his house? We went to his house
In Palm Springs or the one in.
in Burbank.
Oh, okay.
I'm like trying to remember what happened, why we went there, but the five of us went there. Was a guardhouse. It was like an office, like not just a little, phone booth looking thing. It was like a big, and we went in, and a very friendly guy gave me a styrofoam cup from with Bob Hope's logo with the little slope nose
Uh-huh.
from his plane. It was we had some water in little styrofoam cups. I kept it for a long time. I may still have it somewhere. It's like, and he told us the story of how they got the logo, and very friendly. And then we went in Mr. Hope's rose garden. Apparently, that's a thing rich people do, is have very expensive roses.
Oh, I have them in my
Yeah.
all the time.
And there was a big, beautiful pool. And then we went to his house.
Was it shaped like a nose, like a ski nose?
No, I'm trying to remember this. We went in his house, but we didn't meet him then. I don't know why we were there, but he has a whole downstairs that's sort of public, and then he has living quarters above it.
Like Graceland. It's kind of like Graceland.
I guess so. Yeah, it was very interesting. It's like, I'd never been in a place like that before. Pictures of him with Reagan and all these people.
When I was in Palm Springs last year, I had the Uber driver was taking me to the place, but he was pointing out who lived where, and Bob Hope's house was way up on this hill, at the top of this hill, and it isolated from everybody. So I get the sense that he wasn't a real public person, that he treasured his privacy.
Could be, yeah. I mean, we didn't meet him, so yeah.
So you went to his house and you didn't meet him?
I can't remember.
Jeez, he didn't even bring you like a cookie or something?
They didn't. I don't think they took pictures of us there. That happened in the studio in Burbank, I'm pretty sure.
So what was the point of bringing you out there?
That's what I'm trying to remember. I'm going to have to ask one of them. I'm going to have to ask Carol or somebody, why were we there? And Anyway, it was
Okay.
very cool to be there, though. It was
I'm
very,
sure. Yeah.
loved it.
So now you must feel at this point your career is really churning. You're really moving. Moving ahead. What happens next?
I don't know. I
We've had this discussion before, you and I.
yeah, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm not sharing secrets. I mean, you've said this to me. You all right? You okay?
Yeah, I just have
Okay.
maybe some wine.
Let's talk. At this point, did you know who's the man who's to become your husband, TJ? Did you know him at that point?
Oh yeah, we dated in our 20s.
Okay, but then you didn't. You separated for a while, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he moved to New York, and I didn't really see him for a long time, like
Okay,
20
so let's give the people some background about who TJ was. Okay.
Okay.
You wanna do his bio?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I mean, you
TJ
know him better than I did.
Yeah, well, a little bit, only a little. TJ Tyndall was one of the founding members of not founding, but he was a member of the Sound of Philadelphia. He played on multiple
He's a
R&B.
guitarist, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
as a guitarist, as a rhythm guitarist, and he played with, he toured with the Chambers Brothers. He toured in a band that opened for the Allman Brothers. Yeah, got it. And he worked with Robert Palmer. He worked with Bonnie Raitt. He produced a couple of her albums, her early albums.
With Bonnie Raitt, really?
Yeah. Mhm.
Wow.
Yep. And anyway, so he was on a number of hits, and very respected guitarist, very lovely man,
Yes, he
and
was.
gone too soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're in touch with him while you're in California, or no, you're not. There's just
Well, what I would do is I would send, this was before a lot of internet or
right.
email, I would send postcards when I had a TV appearance or something to promote. So I would send them, and then once in a while when I would go home, he was at that point he was becoming a lighting designer for his parents. They had a lighting store in Princeton, and so sometimes I would stop by and just say hi, and sometimes I wouldn't even see him. But one year I went by and he wasn't there. But then I got a phone call at my parents' house because I was visiting, and he was getting divorced, and he was, he wanted to see me, and so it flared up again, and
like a chronic infection. Yeah.
an infection that was I was in remission, and next thing you know, and so one thing led to another. Right around that time, my parents were getting older. I was like kind of losing my whatever buzz I had in
That's the point I want to spend a minute on. Okay.
it's like if you don't take off at a certain point, there's a lull, and you really have to plug to get that spark back. So I was just feeling like I was winding down there, in LA. I could just feel it, and I knew if I didn't get out of there, it's sort of like meat that starts to rot. I didn't want to create a stench of like dead meat, AKA we've seen her. You know what I mean? It's just like you don't want that. You want them to be clamoring to see. So all those things together, TJ, my parents being older, and me just ready for a change, I came back east. And
I always admired that about you. There are so many people that we know who just never let go. They just cling by their little fingertips to whatever it is they were at one point. But to leave, basically you left for love, right?
Yeah.
Which is it's a fantasy that we all have, You're like Grace Kelly. You gave up everything
There was no, really, let's not exaggerate. I was not giving up very much at all, things were not
But
really
you
happening at that time.
but, you know, fame is cyclic, it's
Yeah,
just
I
you were
know.
in a lull,
Yes,
we could safe to say you were in a lull at that point, but
yes.
it was very Grace Kelly-like. I always thought that was just it's just such a beautiful story that you you love this man so much that
Yeah.
you gave it all up, and you didn't miss it. Did you miss it?
Um, n I'm no, not at that time. I was just sort of what was I was still doing it, for one thing. It kinda just trailed off, you
Mm,
know? I did it for, like, another 5 or 6 years. It just was, I had road gigs and things like that, and, then began to have local gigs, but, um, it just sort of petered off, and then I began to work with the family business, and then we eventually we got into the hospitality business, and we began importing, lighting from Italy
mhm.
and selling to hotels and casinos, and, that was kind of fun. Um, we were
Well,
going to
that's the equivalent of what we started out. We said that
yeah,
some of our colleagues left stand up to become writers and producers. You left to become
an
um,
importer, yeah.
a lighting engineer, basically.
Well, no, I never did the lighting part, I just, you know, uh, did all the other stuff, so,
Oh,
I
so
did
life is good. You're running this business.
yeah.
Um, TJ, is he still playing at this point?
No, he had, like, gone no, he sort of, like, put it aside, and
Okay.
I'm not sure why, but I think it had to do with if he couldn't play at the level that he always played at, and not having done it for several years, he didn't have interest in it. He didn't want to.
So again, I mean, if further proof that you guys were made for each other because you were both able to walk away from
Yeah,
these careers that realistically you realize that none of it's real, but love is real. The love you two had was real,
yeah,
and that's a beautiful story right there. I mean that's the stuff Hallmark movies. have, you know. So you're out of the business for how long?
probably I'm so bad at math. I probably stopped, say, around, I don't know, let's just say 2005. I don't really know for sure. And then, so 15 years,
Okay, so you were out 15 years, and then
15, roughly.
okay. So how do we get back here to where we are
Well,
now?
basically, my entire family died. No, I was caretaking, uh, I was working with TJ, we had gotten married. I was caretaking, my mom, and then, my dad, and then tragically, TJ got terminal cancer. Uh, I never had to take care of him. Um, he was okay until he wasn't, and, so I kinda and then and then 5 months we had moved to this house where I am now to, um, help with his mom, and then he died, and then 5 months later, she died, and all of a sudden, I'm in this house, and everybody's gone. I'm like, "Hello?" So, um it just was our friend Jerry Diner had passed away, a
Right.
comic that a lot of
Mhm.
people really loved, and, so there was a memorial service for him. That's where I saw you, and I saw several other comics I hadn't seen in a very, very long time, and, and and the next day, it was, like, June 30th or something, I lifted the calendar, and for the first time in years, there was nothing. She had died in June 26th, and I was like, wow, it's back to me. My life is open now. So I decided I'm going to come back to comedy and I don't regret it. It's been great.
It seems like the last few guests we've had on, and I don't know if it's a function of their being older than the average kid comic, but all of us have had this traumatic event. We've been away, maybe sometimes been away from it for a while, but there seems to be the common thread is a traumatic event that brought us back to comedy, which is where we always, it's home for us, not the performing part as much as the being with fellow comedians, our kind, basically. And I remember getting a call from you one day, and while TJ was alive, actually, this was not he. What I didn't even know if he was diagnosed yet. I think he was. Everything seemed well. You called me and everything. You got an offer from Joy Behar.
Oh yeah.
Remember this?
That was before. That was
right.
Yeah.
To go with her to Vegas to do a one-nighter, right at I forget,
the
Venetian. Was it the Venetian?
Yeah.
And so you're like freaking out because you hadn't done comedy in so long.
Right.
But the fact that you did it, after some cajoling from TJ and me and there were probably a bunch of other people and Joy, and you did real well. Did that kind of wet your whistle a little bit?
It did. I was like intrigued, but then that happened in August, the shows that we did.
Mm-hmm.
And then in September, that's when my father's declines kind of started. And there was just a lot of family things that I needed to do,
Right.
and so it got backburnered. It was like, okay, we can't do this right now. So so when everybody was gone, and I was like, back to me, I'm so grateful that I had that to come back to, because one of the things, I mean, we're on stage only a small portion of the time when you're a comedian, but a lot of the time you're hanging out with your comedy friends, and it's such a nice community. It's so relaxing to be around comics because they don't tend to take things the wrong way, and you can have fun, you can insult each other. It's
and
it's fun.
we were there. We're you and I and a couple of other of our friends are in a writing group. We meet not as often as I'd like, but when we do meet, the one thing I always take away from that is the amount of support we have for each other. We're not when somebody's up and it's their time to talk about this piece they're working on, the support is there. Everybody's focused on that comic.
Right.
And then we move to the next person in the group and the next person. And it's, I don't know that that can happen in any other business. Because I think we all realize that, how important what we're doing is for when we do get on stage. It has to work.
Right.
And we're all just there, supporting each other. So I've watched you, like we said, it's 5 or 6 years now. 6 years, right? 6 years, 7.
16 and it's going to be 7. Yeah.
Okay.
We're closing on 7.
Watching you from that gig with Joy to where you are now, it's just it just does my heart so good to see whenever I see your name pop up on a poster or something like that, or when you're with me and we're touring, and
that's been so fun. I love that. I have to turn my phone off. I forgot to do that.
We go into the title of the Double Trouble tour.
Yeah, I love it. I love that picture that Gary took. It's really great. Yeah.
But I'll stand in the wings and watch you work, and right before you go out, this happens every single time you go. They're going to hate me. They're going to hate me. I'm going to suck. Blah 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 blah. And then you're right now. You said. Then you go out there and you just slay this group, and it's just so gratifying. And because my story is similar. I came back after 10 years too, and I found a home again. I was able to, I feel whole when I'm with comics or on stage. It's the only place I've ever felt at home. And it's weird because it's such a we're such gypsies. I mean, we don't have any, basically have no roots, and yet I think we're the most stable people in society for that, for the most part.
Some of us are.
Some of us are.
Some
I said for the most part. Anyway.
For the most.
So what? All right.
Back
Where
to
are
what
you
you were. What?
No, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
When you were talking about how, we feel comfortable with each other, I think when Robin Williams was coming, like he was very well known at that time, and he was coming around the clubs, and we were not fawning on him. We left, we just let him be who he was, just leave him alone. And I really got the sense that he was glad to be back among just comics. He like we have a common experience, common things to talk about, and he just seemed to feel really at home.
It's familial. We're family. We kind of are outcasts in the regular world. We stay like, but when we're together, we're family. Even we could not see each other for years, and then an event will happen where we all happen to be in the same room, and it's like you just pick up where you left off, and that's one of the things I really love about our business.
Yeah,
and the friendships you make, and I treasure you in my life as a friend. I really, really do. I'm going to tell tales out of school here. When I had my surgery, I was totally incapacitated, and there were several people, Kathy Caldwell among them, who were just there for me all the time, and you were one of them. I mean, you came.
you froze.
So I don't know what the hell happened. That was weird. All right, so now I got to say nice things to you again.
Yeah.
All right, we had a technical glitch, and so I was just about wrapping up. So I wanted to say, I don't know how much you heard from the list.
Well, you were saying very nice.
Again.
You were talking about your
hospital.
Yeah, being at the hospital. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, and there were a few people in life that just stunned me with their kindness, and there I go again. Am I out again? All right.
No, you're here. Oh, now you're not.
You can't be nice. And maybe one of them. I'm not
maybe try insulting me.
Wait,
maybe
stop fucking with me, guys. Come on, you're fucking with me. I'm trying to be nice. All right, I'm just saying. She was there. She brought me food. She slept over. She took care of me. She made sure alive. And I love you. Fuck.
Yeah, there you are. Frozen.
Anita's frozen.
I'm not frozen. I'm here.
What is he doing? Because I don't know how long I'm going to be on here.
Okay.
I want to thank you for everything, for your friendship, for your talent, and for your just being you. I loved you, and did you have a good time?
I did, and I feel all that and more for you. I really do. I feel gratitude for you. You've been such a support.
And I feel the same way. I feel the same way for you. Well, we're going to run because I don't know how long this connection is going to hold.
Okay.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you to our 7 listeners for being loyal.
Yeah, thank you,
Kathy
all of you. Good. I hope she feels better.
Yeah, me too. We love you, Kath, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.